What's up, everybody? We back up in here. Hella Flagrant, the podcast, season 3. We live.
Right, that's right.
You know what I'm saying? We back. It's been a small hiatus. We gave y'all the summer to enjoy your life. Some of y'all had hot girl summer. It was city boy summer. I don't know what none of that means, but I'm kind of glad it's over. We getting back to sports. I'm your main man, Hella Flagrant DM, Sean B. Flagrant. What's happening?
What's going on with you, man? How y'all doing, man, out there, man? Like, said summer is finally ending. That means football is coming back in our world as well as basketball in late October. But, I mean, look, the summertime is great to have fun, go on vacation, party, live it up. Right now, we actually in Las Vegas right now, you know what I'm saying, taking time out to film for y'all. But the thing about it is, man, like, the summer's about to be done, like I said, and it's time to get back into business, man.
Yeah. So
football is back.
And football is back. And speaking of the business of football, we are here in Vegas. And so, you know, these little sheets, for those of y'all who, let's put it up close so you can see what these are. Caesars Entertainment. These are from the sports book. These are some of our favorite things to look at. You know, win totals. Who's going to have the fewest regular season wins. We got football MVP award. Obviously, you know that you can bet on all sorts of stuff. So you got all that stuff right here. Let's get into some of this. I want to start with season win totals.
All right.
For football, is there something on here that you see that's just like, wait a minute, hold on?
Well, I think, okay, so I'm going to say this. I think this year football is going to be a little bit different. I guess not by a majority of them. Obviously, we know Tom Brady's getting a little bit older. I mean, that doesn't really mean too much because the man is
still the GOAT.
Still the greatest of all time. I know everybody don't want to say it, but I mean, the man is living, you know, his dreams out all the way to the old age of 42 years old.
Yeah.
But the Patriots still, I mean, they're going to be a hard out, but, you know, I don't think they're going to be as dominant this year as maybe last. I think there's going to be a lot of teams that might go under. Starting with this, I'll go through this. The Los Angeles Rams. Mm-hmm. Right now, the Los Angeles Rams, it says on this list, their season win total is 10.5. I'll tell you right now, it's not going to be 10.5. I don't think they're going to win that. I would take the under on that. Also, the Saints, I think the Saints are going to have a great year again. But personally, I think there might be a little bit of regression, especially after everything that happened with the pass interference call that happened last year in the what was that? What was it? The NFC Championship game. That's right. Against the Rams.
Correct.
Now, what they also changed that rule now, so a lot of that will be reviewed. They also they're having the challenges and everything like that. But basically, those will be reviewable now, which I hope it doesn't slow the game down. But we'll see. But I do think it'll be a regression for the Saints as well as the Rams. Few other teams on here that I kind of like personally. I'm looking at Carolina have a pretty decent year. I know it doesn't really sound like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but
really? You go put some money on Cam?
I think I like what they're doing, what they're trying to build down there. I think they'll be pretty decent. I think the Tennessee Titans will be good. They won't be flashy. They won't be exciting. They'll be boring football, but it will be effective. Smash mouth defensive football. I think I like that. And I also like the Atlanta Falcons this year to have a decent year. I just feel like they had a lot of injuries last year, and it kind of derailed their season. But I think they'll have a good year. And speaking of injuries, I can pass this over to you because you are the San Francisco 49ers fan. As you can see, I am not. I represent the Raiders, the Oakland Raiders, as I say that here in Las Vegas. But speak on your.
So let's talk about my 49ers who they have us getting 8 wins. Which I don't even bet on the 49ers just for personal reasons. I don't bet on teams that I get emotional about because I don't want to lose games and money and all my emotions at the same time. So I'm going to stay away from this. But even if I wasn't emotional with San Francisco, I would stay away from this bet anyway, just because that's kind of a push for me. Jimmy G coming back off an injury. We don't know what's going to happen. Jerick McKinnon coming back off an injury. We don't know what's going to happen. Nick Bosa has injured himself twice in the preseason already. Obviously not career-ending or season-ending injuries, but it does show that you and your brother both have been injury prone.
And the father too.
The father had injuries too in his career. Right. So, it makes me a little bit cautious to say what my team is going to do this year because I genuinely don't know because the guys that are going to go out on the field for game one haven't played together.
True.
And so I have no idea what they're going to do. So 8 wins, I honestly think it's probably going to be like a 6-7 thing. And that's just me being realistic. But if they crank out 8, I'll be happy for them. We're not making the playoffs with 8 in that division, but I'd be happy if we got to 8 wins. And so we'll see. Injuries again, coming back off of injuries, these guys haven't really played together. Mm-hmm. I don't know what my team is going to do. So let's talk about your team, who's been in the headlines. Obviously, they're on Hard Knocks. John Gruden making some tough statements on Hard Knocks. Getting that
nightmares.
Team fired.
What is that? we don't believe in dreams. We believe in nightmares. Yeah. So I was just looking at this. The Oakland Raiders win total right now is at 6, which is pretty pathetic to say the least. But they did get 6. No, I'm sorry. They got 4 wins last year. So I guess it's still a step up, but it's not very great. Look. The Oakland Raiders, I think, will be a little bit better. They acquired Antonio Brown. Obviously, that was the big news. Coming into the Raider camp, obviously, we've been having situations with Antonio Brown, though he hasn't actually played for our team yet.
First of all, who works out, and I'm not knocking him, but who works out in what was it, Versace suede shoes? Like, come on, bro.
Okay, so this is the problem that I have with everything like that. Antonio Brown decided that he was going to put an Instagram video of him catching a brick, which is unbelievable to say the least. I don't know what that really accomplishes, but, I guess that's for grip and to show how good your hands are. It's clean. I like it. Something new. That's the whole internet now anyway. Instagram just put on as much crazy, stuff that you don't even know possibly existed, and everybody like it. But anyway, my point is Antonio Brown decided to wear some Versace some brand loafers while he was doing that. The problem with that is not the fact that he wore these crazy, ridiculous looking shoes while he was working out. The problem I have with the situation is that when he decided to go to the cryotherapy chamber, which is basically a seriously super cold building that are enclosed environment that basically helps you with your bones and your muscles to get back into shape and recover faster, he didn't wear any shoes. I don't get that. So the problem why I'm saying that is right now Antonio Brown has frostbitten feet.
How you go from Pittsburgh to Oakland and get frostbite? I know the internet been telling that joke all week, but I just had to say it out my mouth. Like, how you go from where it snows to where it don't and get frostbite?
First of all, I don't know who to blame on this. I don't know if I want to blame the people that work in the cryotherapy chamber.
Yeah, who let them in there with no shoes on? But then again, it's Antonio Brown.
Right.
Are you really going to be like, hey, bro, you got to put your shoes on?
But then on the same note, why did Antonio Brown decide to stay in there once his feet were burning and were freezing? Personally, if I was to step on something that was either hot, cold, and it was severe on my foot, I would get off of that.
Yeah.
And that way it wouldn't burn through my foot.
But he's AB. This is what he does. He wants to do him. And
right. So another issue with this also is a big, I want to say, situation. He wanted to play with a helmet that was 10 years older than what the original helmet. Okay, so let me break this down. I'm sorry. The NFL has specific helmets that they need to use for specific for everybody, not just specific players, for everybody in the entire league. They give you options, probably about 20 to 30 different kind, sleek, big, depending on the way it fits on your head and how you want it. Do you want a big, thick helmet? Do you want a smaller one? Do you want one that has a visor, that one that can spread so you can get more vision? Antonio Brown didn't want any of them. He wanted the old one from 10 years ago. He decided that if he didn't get it, he was going to threaten the NFL that he was going to stop playing. The NFL said, I don't care. You have to wear it. And now he's playing. Or, well, at least he's back to practice.
Right.
So all that was for nothing. They made a whole big 3 days worth of, I decide I'm not going to play anymore. And then the NFL said no. And he said, okay, I'll come back.
Yeah. Again, I mean, you got to deal with him all season. So
The fact
if
that
this is just no pun intended, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Like I'm interested to see how this goes.
the problem with it that I've sat here and I talked about 5 minutes of it, and I haven't even talked about the actual play of the Oakland Raiders. That's the problem that we're having.
Right.
Everything is a sideshow, whether it be John Gruden, whether it be Antonio Brown. The Hard Knocks now is filming the Raiders, which is showing all type of different things. Jonathan Abram, who is the new safety rookie, is very outspoken.
Right.
Kind of like it, but on the same thing, it's like you haven't played a game yet in the NFL, an actual NFL meaningful game, other than the 2 preseason games that you've played now. Pump your brakes.
Yeah.
Chill out. Learn the league, learn to understand how things are going. But on the same note, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like this whole year, it being the last year in Oakland before they come out here, I think it's going to be a sideshow.
Yeah.
So as bad as I want to sit here and say, being an Oakland Raider fan and having to deal with that, at least I can see my team play for at least one more season in O.co, the beautiful Oakland, California Coliseum Arena.
You just call that place beautiful?
To me, it's beautiful. It's home. It is. My trash is my trash.
I mean, I get it. I gotta go there for A's games.
Every Oakland Raider fan who is listening to this, it is their trash, and I'm telling you, they love it. They love it just the same. But on that note,
we love Tent City under the bar.
Right? Yes. Yeah. On that note, but still, 6 wins. I'm gonna be honest with you. I could see that. I could see it. I wouldn't see more than 7. I'm just gonna be honest with you. So I wouldn't take that bet at all, because I don't think they could win more than 7, even on a good day. So
yeah, we'll see. I mean, again, both our teams are going to be interesting this year. Not like interesting, exciting, and like going to win a bunch of games. Just interesting to see how they play out for the season. So getting off of them, some other quick football things. MVP. Obviously, this award more than likely goes to a quarterback, but oftentimes you may have a running back or a defensive player get it. On here, I think they had. I just want to make sure because it wasn't in order. They got Pat Mahomes as the favorite for MVP this year. I can see that. What I could also see. That's a little bit further down this list is, somebody like either a Carson Wentz or an Aaron Rodgers, depending on how he comes back, snagging that same title. That's why the odds obviously aren't that great for those. In terms of long shots on this list, though, is there anybody on here you're like, nah, we could see one of these long shots coming to get that MVP?
I can see Ben Roethlisberger maybe at 60-1, not because of the situation, just because you got to think him losing Antonio Brown as well as, Le'Veon didn't play last year, but the whole fact of, everybody making such a big deal at Pittsburgh. Well, is it Antonio Brown's situation or is it Big Ben? Who is to blame for all of this? I feel like Mike Tomlin, as the coach, as well as Big Ben, as well as Juju Smith-Schuster, as well as James Conner, who is now the running back that took the place of Le'Veon Bell last year and this year. And a lot of pieces they have, their defense is a lot better this year. I feel like they will have something to prove, only for the simple fact that, Big Ben doesn't want to seem like he was the cause of all the problems in Pittsburgh. Other than that, Derek Carr's on here 21. No. Jimmy Garoppolo in here for 30-1. No. I'm just saying that obviously, like I said,
Saquon for MVP.
Saquon. See, like you said, the problem that it has to be somebody that would stand out. Now, Saquon, if he can lead, if you can lead the Giants actually to more wins than not, because they're kind of a team right now after losing Odell that people think that they don't really have a chance.
Yeah, what's their win total?
The win total.
Another sheet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but the point of the matter is like they don't really look like they're going to be that great of a team.
No,
It says that the what are they at?
the Giants 5.5.
5.5 wins. So
Jeez.
they're putting them down as being terrible situation. Now I before Thursday's game I would have said that Kyler Murray maybe just because it's somebody new they don't have game tape, i.e. what Patrick Mahomes did last year to the league. Nobody knew that was going to come out like that. It was terrifying for people.
Right.
So I thought maybe that could be a situation. I saw that game on Thursday against the Raiders. He looked terrible.
Yeah.
He looked. It looked like the moment's too big for him. Now I'm not saying that right now that he's going to be a bust or anything like that. I'm not saying that he's not going to have a good year. I'm just saying Thursday when I watched the game, it looked like he was having a hard time. Now
I feel like he's going to be football's version of Trey Young last year in the NBA, where the first part of the season it was like, yo, is he really going to figure this out? And then by the second half of the season, he really turned it up a notch and was able to actually play the game at a high level. And I think for Kyler, a you are a two sport athlete. You decided to go ahead and take football, which I don't know if that was the right choice yet, but you did it. That's what you ride with. And so with that, I think there are some things like mentally. It just seemed like when you throw 5 picks, that's not just a physical thing. That's a mental thing. You know what I mean? So there's some things mentally that he has. I think he can play this game. I think eventually he'll be all right, but I think it's going to be 3-4 games of learning experience before he kind of starts to be able to find his groove a little bit.
Right, and that's for not for everybody, but a lot of teams are new this year.
Yeah.
The NFL has had a lot of changeover as well as the NBA, but I mean in football it's a little bit different because you need everybody as a team to work collectively more than the NBA. The NBA you can have great players that can kind of take over a situation by themselves if need be, but the football, you just a million different play calls, a million schemes. You come from Oklahoma and you're running a certain offense and everything is the word verbiage is this, and you might be running a similar play at the Arizona Cardinals, and it might be a completely different thing. Like, I mean, I don't know if anybody that's listening or watching this show has heard John Gruden call out plays. I mean, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
The stuff that he says, it's why spotted to banana. It makes no sense, and it's like I can understand him thinking it could be some way, and then maybe even his receivers run a different route that maybe it wasn't, because they're getting used to him too.
Yep.
So, it might take some time for Kyler Murray. I'm not saying, but I mean that in terms of the situation, looking at odds in Vegas, looking at different MVP things, right now he is at 50-1. And I mean, yes, you think, okay, it might be a throwaway money, but I mean, you figure if you don't you could put a little bit on it, boom, 50-1, you never know.
Yeah.
I mean, NFL
things break on it, make 500.
Right, it breaks different ways in NFL as opposed to basketball. Basketball
injuries and all kinds of stuff. So you never know. I mean, I don't wish injury on Pat Mahomes or your Tom Brady or anybody like that, but things could happen, and he could have a breakout year. You never know. So.
If Patrick Mahomes wins the MVP this year again, then I'm terrified for the league. Yeah. I mean, especially for my division, but the Raiders are going to be here, so they got to deal with it. But I still watch.
Some major news that came out earlier this month. The NFL commissioner, Roger Goodell, sat down with Jay-Z, hip-hop mogul and businessman, entrepreneur, to talk about social justice and bring Jay-Z in as a part of a plan for the NFL to start looking into social justice reform. And Jay-Z has agreed to work with Roger Goodell and the NFL to move forward, with this. This has been a big story for a lot of reasons. Obviously, number one, Jay-Z was behind Colin Kaepernick's whole protest. He was a big supporter of Colin Kaepernick and the kneeling part of the protest. Jay-Z has been a huge proponent of social justice, trying to help get Meek Mill free, help 21 Savage when he was dealing with that situation, trying to get him free. So Jay-Z has been making himself a staple in social justice reform. And so now working with Roger Goodell and the NFL to look at how they can help impact social justice change. Jay-Z stepping in, and obviously there are some people that have some negative things to say about it, i.e., one of those people being Eric Reed, who was right next to Colin Kaepernick, literally during these protests when this whole thing started. Eric Reed does still work in the NFL, though, as opposed to Colin, who just recently posted a video on Instagram letting us all know that it has been 3 years since he has not had a job in the NFL. There are a lot of layers to this. I'm not trying to just speed through it. I know you guys have heard about some of it. We want to give our take, but there's a lot of layers to this whole scenario. When we talk about Colin not having a job, there's layers to that. When we talk about Eric Reed and how he feels about it, there's layers to that. So let's get into Jay-Z, NFL, social justice reform, Colin Kaepernick. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So first of all, obviously Jay-Z, like I said, is now working with the NFL for multiple reasons. I think the way it was basically pushed out to us and to a lot of fans is why a lot of fans I think are a little bit mad. It's because one part of what Jay-Z's doing is helping, I guess, with halftime, with making the NFL a little bit more relevant for people and what I'm saying, like around the world to kind of understand and grow with the NFL. Like for example, the halftime shows have been terrible.
Yep.
I'm just gonna say that flat out. They're terrible. Jay-Z's basically trying to put a plan forward, and the NFL wants him to help him to make the entertainment value a little bit better for everybody watching it, in all aspects. Now, I think that's why people got mad, because they only looked at it and said, "Well, why, if he was so against not doing the halftime show before, and why is he now jumping into the situation to help the NFL out when you were sitting there saying you support Kaepernick and so you support the movement and everything like that?" Look, this is what I have to take from it. All right, Jay-Z's doing a lot more than just that. He's a businessman. Jay-Z knows what he's doing in his life. He's known for, that's why he's a billionaire. He's not doing this to just make more money. Jay-Z has enough money. He doesn't need to do this for a paycheck. He's doing this to, as well as, he's getting paid, but as well as, he's doing that, he's also trying to make it better, make it more enjoyable for everybody, as well as bring awareness to the cause in the situation. Now, I know like Kaepernick is not working. I understand that. And I need everybody to understand that there's more reasons to Kaepernick not working than just this movement. The NFL, I'm not saying that the NFL doesn't have a part in everything that happened before with Colin Kaepernick, but on the same level we talked about before, Colin Kaepernick has sued the NFL.
Yeah.
Colin Kaepernick, as much as people want to say, was not the greatest quarterback, especially towards the end of his last run. And thirdly, you have to understand, Colin hasn't come out and talked about him wanting to play. He says that he does, posting videos. He is doing his awareness, which I think is a great thing. I'm not sitting here saying what Colin does is wrong. I think that there is awareness. And as Jay-Z pointed out when they had an interview with him, we're past the kneeling situation.
Right.
We know what the kneeling was for. We know what it stands for. But now we have to move past it. For Kaepernick's situation, Kaepernick at this point has to understand that you can't sue your employer and then expect them to hire you back.
Well, yeah, or and not just hire you back, but expect to be knocking on your door, begging you to come back. Like, right. If you want to play, maybe you got to sit down at the table and talk to some people and figure that out. But you can't just post an Instagram video and like, oh, I'm not playing. That's kind of vague. You know what I mean? Like, again, we support your movement. Right. Social justice reform needs to happen. Police, killing unarmed African Americans is a serious problem. And so, yes, I definitely support your movement. But when we talk about football and you being on a football field, Eric Reed has a job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And and on that same note, Eric Reed having a problem with Jay-Z while you have a job with the NFL is almost the same as Colin posting that video. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody has this sort of, well, it's okay, but not really kind of attitude towards it. It's okay for me, but it's not okay for you. And it's like, well, hold on. It's got to be the same all the way around. Colin, like if you're going to post a video about not having a job, to be honest and say, okay, yeah, I turned down 3 contracts. Right. You know what I'm saying? Be honest and say, you can say why. It's your reason, but be honest and say that. Say that. Don't just say, oh, it's been 3 years and I haven't had a job, because now you're leading it down the line of they're still intentionally blackballing me. And it's like that. I don't even think they care about your name, not even really in the conversation when it comes to football play. I mean, it's still in the conversation, obviously, in terms of social justice reform and what you've done for the league in terms of exposing, that part of it. But in terms of coaches and offensive coordinators sitting around like, well, shit, we need a quarterback right now, I don't think your name's on the list. Right. And I don't think they're purposely, oh, let's not call. They're not even, it's just, you're not even over there in that frame of mind because you're not on people's mind like that, in my mind.
Right. And so at the same token, like I said, like you just said, it's not about the situation with Colin and Jay-Z. This that Jay-Z working for the NFL doesn't affect anything that Colin is doing.
Right.
So for Eric Reid to come out and to say anything about Jay-Z is wrong, because it's not Jay-Z's job to get Colin working. It's not anybody's job to get Colin working. This is a business. And I understand that the situation and what he stands for. I'm not trying to wipe over that or to not, speak on that. But the fact of the matter is we're past that now. Yeah. Jay-Z's been put in there to continue to make this situation grow and to help the NFL to understand things, but by doing things, not by taking a knee, by continuing to do and to, I don't know exactly what they're going to ask him to do, but like we talked about earlier, I've never doubted Jay-Z.
No.
I've never doubted somebody who knows every conscious move that he makes because it makes his brand bigger. He's not going to do this, like I said earlier, for money. He's doing this because he wants to put a stamp on it by his own way, which in that way he's going to do everything possible to look out for the right cause.
He's an innovator. He's an innovator in the culture, has been, will be. And as we talked about earlier, there's no one else that the NFL could have called for this.
Right.
There's no one. I mean, I love Diddy. I love Dr. Dre. There's some other entertainment moguls that are good entertainment guys. But when you look at everything that this is encompassing, yes, he's there for entertainment and helping the halftime show. But also this whole social justice arm of it, there's no one else that you can call because, again, I gave you guys the Meek Mill and 21 Savage examples on that side of things from the music side, but then you look at Jay-Z from the business side. I mean, there's no one else that you could call to do this because there's no one else with the type of money and influence that NFL owners would respect at the table.
Right.
You know what I mean? And jumping into another topic, another reason why this is kind of getting in is that also news came out that Jay-Z may be interested in purchasing an NFL team in the near future. Now, again, to me, I think the average person is going to look at that and be like, oh, that's just a money play. And, oh, he's using this now. He's really using this to capitalize for a money play. And he's going to make some money. I'm not going to lie. I mean, you're not in this for free. Yes. But the other half of it is, and what I want people to understand is, if you really want respect from NFL owners, you got to be one.
Right.
Goodell or the owners. That's it. And it's really only 2 owners, like you talked about, Kraft and Jerry Jones, that have that real level of respect. But if you really want to affect change in the league, you have to be at that table.
Right.
And that's it. And if Jay-Z has the money to go ahead and be at that table, and he wants to affect change through the NFL and through the power of football, then him coming out and saying, yeah, I intend to buy a team, I don't think people should look at that negatively. Again, I foresee people be like, oh, Jay-Z's selling out. You know what I mean? And I personally don't see it as that.
I don't either. And like I said, it's not Jay-Z's job to make every change in the book. But the thing about it is, let's not judge him before he hasn't done it yet.
Right. Let him do it.
We'll see. I mean, the thing I took away from everything, I just didn't like the way Eric Reid attacked him, just because you're doing the exact same thing.
Right.
I mean, you're working for the NFL as well. I mean,
right.
you're taking a knee, you're doing things, outside of the NFL. I understand that, but that doesn't mean JC can't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just because he's taking a job or working with the NFL, as are you, doesn't mean that he can't do what you're doing, if not more. He has the ability, like you just said, to be able to change from a different aspect than you can. Yeah. If you really want the NFL to change as a whole. Right. So, I mean, it can't do it if nobody's going to do it, because the owners that are there are not going anywhere. Right. So if they don't want to change, they don't have to change.
Yeah, and you as a player only have so much influence. You know what I mean? There's got to be influence created at all different levels. You know what I mean? Like, again, with Jay-Z, also you got Rock Nation sports component, but then you also got guys like Rich Paul, African American sports agents who are bringing a different element to the game and who are trying to affect change from a different side of the game. And so, again, Eric Reed, I kind of understand your frustration a little bit, but I think you're speaking out of turn, because in order for this thing to really change and for us to be, well represented, we have to be represented at every level, from the ownership level, from the player level, from the agent level, from all levels. We have to be represented. And so you getting mad at Jay-Z for wanting to get involved, again, I don't know. I can't understand that.
I mean, personally, I'd rather play for Jay-Z than play for
90% of the owners.
Yeah. It's like, at least
I'd rather play for Jay-Z.
So, I mean, like I said, Eric Reed, I'm not going down like that road, but the only problem is, like, give a man a chance, man. Like, he might actually be doing this for a good reason.
Yeah. I mean, at the worst, we'd have Rihanna performing every night, and who could hate that?
I'll be honest, I'm not mad.
Oh, man. All right, so moving out of NFL, speaking of best summers ever, the NBA is having an awesome summer. Like, it doesn't even feel like an off season. Like, it just feels like a mini camp, like mini season is going on right now. It doesn't even feel like we've taken any time off since the playoffs has ended.
It's gotten better. Better.
I mean, obviously, free agency was absolutely wild. The draft, it was nuts. And then we've had Summer League we've seen Trae Young go bananas. We've seen Devin Booker go crazy. Yeah. Spider Mitchell, I've seen him in some Summer League games going bananas. So, it's been fun. Basketball has been fun, except for if you're on Team USA. But we'll gloss over that for the moment. And so, NBA season will be starting roughly about a month, from now or so. But obviously, being in Vegas, again, on these fancy little sheets, they have already started making some cool little predictions. And so we're going to get into a couple of these predictions. First, we're going to do individuals. 2020 NBA MVP. Vegas says Steph Curry, LeBron James, and Giannis are the best bets to win it.
Yeah, they're the favorite. Kawhi Leonard's up there, but he's not as close favorite as the rest of them. I'm going to say this. I think Giannis will have a great year. I don't think it'll be MVP worthy. I think last year during the playoffs, Toronto actually, I wouldn't say exposed him, but they found a way to defend him getting to the basket so easily. So it is going to be an offseason for him to be working on the jump shot. Hopefully he has done that a little bit more to make things a little bit easier. James Harden, of course, will be teamed up this year with Russell Westbrook, which is pretty crazy because both of them were, MVPs the last 2 years. Both of them put up crazy statistical stats. I don't know what. Anyway, I'm in Vegas. They both put up crazy numbers. So, I mean, obviously they can't have two MVPs on the same team. I mean, they probably can, but I don't think that'd ever be possible.
That's nuts.
That would be crazy. So anyway, for me personally, just because with the essence of betting and everything like that, like I don't usually choose the favorites. There's no point. Doesn't really make sense to bet on something that either is going to happen or / not going to give you a return on money. Especially like I'm not going to come back to Vegas for an extra $10.
Right.
I'm sorry. So what I'm trying to say is I usually take a little bit bigger odds. Right now, the favorite odds for me personally, what I think, I'm going to take Damian Lillard. Dame, we all know him, Oakland born, bred. The dude can play. Ball out of control. He's not overlooked as much now, but he's been killing his whole career.
Yeah.
And Portland, they've been making their strides. Obviously, we've seen them. We played against them in the Western Conference Finals last year. We always seem to play them sometime in the playoffs. We see him all the time in Oakland 4 times a year. If you're watching this from the Bay Area, you know Dame inside and out. You know everything about him. So,
Big Dollar.
yeah, Dame Dollar got to drop the album too. Go get that. You feel me? But right now, his odds are 25-1. I like those. It's time for Dame to break out.
Yeah.
He's been first team, I don't know how many times. He is, obviously I think Steph Curry is better than him, but he's right there in terms of the top point guards. To me, I think he's number 2.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I would put it number 2 on my list as the second best point guard in the league. So I think it might be his year. I think, obviously we talk about the Warriors, and I can't pick any of that. I think another, maybe I would look at Devin Booker.
I was just going to say him, and we talked about this because of the team that he's on. He may get overlooked. But I think when you talk about MVP, and again, the MVP one, every time it comes up, the conversation is always, is it most valuable to that team or the league's most valuable player? Like, who was the best player on the best team or the person that was most valuable to their team?
Right.
And so I think, obviously, Devin Booker will be the most valuable person to the Phoenix Suns. I don't know how valuable that is to the league, though.
Right.
And so I think he's going to have a great year. I also think Trae Young's going to have a great year. I don't think they're going to look at him for MVP nods, but I think he's going to have a great year. He's not even on here.
That's what I'm saying. He's not even on the list.
What?
Which is crazy.
That's kind of crazy.
But yeah, you're right. I think Trae Young's going to be a lot better player.
Yeah.
And even though the USA team has been getting beat, for a better word, I think it's helping those guys, the younger guys that are playing. Jason Tatum. Look, Boston Celtics, to me, I think they took a little bit of a step back. And I'm not saying because of Kyrie. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not saying Kyrie is a bad player. I think he's a great player. I think he's a great one-on-one player, but I don't know how much he makes every team better. Yes, he made big shots against the Warriors. I understand that. Yes, he does magical things with the basketball. I understand that.
Yeah, but he had the greatest player in the
NBA. But yeah, exactly. But LeBron, let's not get him mistaken. LeBron led that team. And we saw in Boston how that folded apart or came undone, I guess, basically what he's trying to say, quickly. And the team kind of turned on him. Right now, he's going to play in Brooklyn. And he will be teamed up not with Kevin Durant right now. But, I don't think he won't make the team a better. What I'm trying to say is this, because Boston Celtics with Kemba Walker being there, I think will be almost the same thing in terms of, scoring points wise. Him and Kyrie, they took a step back by losing Al Horford. But I do think that they will be a good team to bet on this year because I do think that they have had a lot of guys that have stayed. Right now, 4 guys are playing on the USA team for them, so they're getting that, continuity and playing together and making sure that they stay, together as a union. But what I'm trying to say is I think a good bet also to put some small money on there is Jason Tatum maybe having a year that he comes back and kind of breaks through as being the number 1 player for that team if Kimba kind of takes a back seat, because I think that was a problem last year with Jason Tatum taking that big leap in the playoffs a few years ago against LeBron and almost beating the Cleveland Cavaliers when LeBron was still on the team. And then when Kyrie came back, he had to take a step back and his growth kind of hit. So I'm anxious to see what he looks like this year, being more the,
they got him at 150 to 1.
Well, that's what I'm saying. In terms of a bet, 150 to 1.
That's $20 I put down.
Right. So that's what I'm kind of looking at with that. Like, you never know what could happen in that situation where this man comes and he does his thing and boom, blows right back up. So I do think Jason Tatum's a good player, but the price for that, 150 to 1, might as well.
So looking at basketball, looking at teams, I know we were looking at win totals. The other thing that we have here in Vegas that we can bet on, obviously, is the odds to win both Eastern and Western Conference championships and the NBA Finals. Couple of things on the win totals I think that stuck out for me. The biggest jump is the Los Angeles Lakers. Vegas is predicting them to win roughly 14 more games than they did last year. Obviously, with the addition of Anthony Davis, and some other moves that they have made to kind of restructure that team in the offseason. Looks like they're going to do that. Unfortunately, our man, Boogie Cousins will not be a part of that team, at least for the first half, if not longer. I mean, Boogie Cousins, as all of you guys know, he just came back off of an ACL injury.
Achilles. He had Achilles.
I mean, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He had an Achilles injury in New Orleans, which he came back from in Golden State, and was attempting to, revitalize his career in Golden State and hope that he could come back from that Achilles. Had a quad injury, and then in this summer here in Vegas, he's probably somewhere around here, right now. Here in Vegas, he was working out and tore his ACL. So it's been a rough go for my man Boogie. We wish him all the best. I really was hoping to see Boogie actually have a better year and be able to come back and play. And I think that Lakers situation would have been a good situation for him.
Right.
And so, unfortunately, they will not have him, but they got JaVale still.
JaVale McGee.
JaVale McGee. Well, I mean, he's an NBA champion.
Yes.
And so, looking at that, I can see why Vegas is pushing their line up higher to win a significant amount of games. Around the league, it's kind of evened out. The one thing that's significant, the Golden State Warriors, they have them winning 10 less games than they won last year. I think they have us at 53.
It was at they won 57 last year. They have them at 47 and a half.
Yeah. I'm taking the over. We're getting 50 wins. I mean, come on, an 82 game season.
Right. Notable ones, obviously. Toronto Raptors, obviously, they took a major hit because Kawhi left. They won 58 games last year. They're at 46 and a half this year, even in the Eastern Conference. Milwaukee right now, who I'm looking at taking the under on this. Last year they won 60 games. This year they're at 56 and a half. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a little bit different. They lost some key people. Malcolm Brogdon is a very good piece that they lost. He now plays for the Pacers.
Yep.
And then also Mirotic went back overseas to play. That stretched the floor for them a lot. I know Brook Lopez helped a lot in the playoffs. He will be back with his brother Robin, which is pretty cool, but I don't know if that's enough to win.
Yeah.
Houston Rockets were at same. They had 53 last year. They had 53 and a half this year. With Russ, I guess they figured Russ and Chris Paul are, probably give them the same amount of impact. I don't think so.
I honestly thought if they kept Chris Paul, they would have lost more games.
Yeah. I think
the Russ is slightly a boost for them.
Right. I mean, obviously we know Chris Paul got traded for Russell Westbrook. Just because him and
what's OKC's change?
OKC probably has the most drastic change. They were at 49 wins last year. They're at 31 and a half. And I don't even know if that could happen.
Nah, I'm taking
a Oklahoma City team led by Chris Paul and Steven Adams. I don't see winning any games. But it is the NBA and people slack off and they lose sometimes. So.
Or teams tank, and I think they may.
I don't see why not. They got like 8 draft picks in there from all the trades that they did. They might as well. I mean, they're going to be. Well. But be saying that, but if they can hit on 3 or 4 of them things, they're going to be right back because we all know Oklahoma hits on their draft picks.
That is true.
They hit on their draft picks.
That is true.
So Kevin Durant,
Russell Westbrook, James Harden,
Serge Ibaka, Reggie. What is his name? the point guard that was on Reggie Jackson. Yeah, he was a decent player. Jeff Green at the time was decent.
Jeff Green.
Anyway, Steven Adams is a good player. Obviously, he's not he's a great role player.
So yeah, they draft well.
Yeah,
they'll be all right.
Yeah. So I mean, of course, that the win totals with that. They also have a bet here, which I think is pretty interesting. I'm not going to bet it, but they have a bet: will a California-based team win the NBA championship? What that means, obviously, is the Lakers, the Clippers, the Golden State Warriors, and
don't you dare say the Sacramento Kings
and the Sacramento Kings.
The Harrison Barnes-led Sacramento Kings.
Part of that. Will they win or will they not? I think it's pretty interesting because honestly, if I had to pick right now, just based off of everything I know about basketball, I would probably go with the Lakers and the Clippers and the Golden State Warriors, just because I know the Golden State Warriors have that pedigree, despite anything. And once they get in the playoffs, that they would probably come out. So Sacramento won't be in the playoffs, so you can cancel that probably out right now. But that means 3 teams versus the field. I'm
gonna take one of the 3.
I probably would take one of those 3 right now.
Now, some sleepers. Because we have down here the odds to win the Western Conference Championship. One of the ones that we said could sneak up and grab somebody is Utah. Utah plays well together. Adding Mike Conley to the mix. I mean, you already had a fairly decent team, and actually not even decent. You had a scary team. I mean, Utah is one of those teams that if you slacked off and they caught you in the playoffs, like they could come and take your money. And so I don't see them getting any worse by any means by adding Mike Conley. And so I think Utah is one of those teams that may be able to come in there and surprise and upset a Lakers, a Clippers, or a Warriors if those teams aren't on their A game.
Yeah, no, for sure. Utah's always been a scary team for anybody. They don't always have the flashy, athletic style players. Donovan Mitchell is closer than they have to him, and he is their star. And I think he will be better next year. I've seen multiple videos of him playing in the summer league and just playing out, and he looks tremendously better. But like you said, Mike Conley is now joining their team along with Rudy Gobert, who's already been there, who's been the defensive player of the year the last 2 years. They also added Bodan Bojanovic, or how do you say his name? I'm sorry if I butchered that, but he is a great stretch the floor shooter that will help them, and he plays defense just like they like to play. Put that, with the rest of their young athletic players that they do have on their team. Rubio is gone. He's now with Phoenix, which is not really that big of a deal. Nobody cares. But they do have a lot of talent on that team. Joe Ingles, who looks like Toby from The Office, is a very, very, very good player, despite looks like he's 45 years old. But he does his job, and he puts he makes them go. So I like Utah.
Yeah.
I like Utah. They're going to be a tough out for anybody, just because they play hard and they play defense.
All right, well let's do this. Let's get them. Who are you taking to win Western Conference? Just pick one. I know we just said all these teams. Pick one.
To win the Western Conference, I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, well, we're not going to put any money on that because Vegas has them as a plus 185, meaning we're not going to win any money. Eastern Conference champion.
The Eastern Conference, I'm actually going to go out and say Boston will be the Eastern Conference.
That's a 7-1. You may win a few dollars if you want to go ahead and think about that. I'm going to say Philly upsets Boston. Vegas agrees with me, so it's not anything we're putting no money on.
All I have to do is put a cheeseburger in Joel Embiid's locker, and that'll be the end of that. Putting him in his stomach, man. I tell you.
Oh man.
Yeah. Ben Simmons been shooting though. I saw a video of Ben Simmons shooting. Yeah. That's exciting. He's taking 4-foot jump shots, so that's gonna be better.
Yeah.
No, I in all seriousness, I do think Philly is a good team. Adding Al Horford will help them. They did that specifically for defense and to help, because if Joel Embiid does have a bad day, and can't play, they have at least a quality center to go in there and take the place. They still have who was the shooter on the team? Well, they got Josh Richardson. He's not what I'm talking about. But they got
Philly?
Josh Richardson. Yeah. That was the one thing I don't like about Philly. They did lose JJ Redick. I don't think that's a plus. I was talking about what's the guy? He was there last year. 33 headband. I'm sorry, I'm blanking right now.
I'm too dark skin, right?
No, light skin. Tobias Harris is his name. I'm sorry, I kind of messed that up. But yeah, Tobias Harris. He's going to be, a better shooter. They lost, like I said, Jimmy Butler. Butler now is playing with the Miami Heat. JJ Redick is now on, the Pelicans, playing with Zion and that bunch over there.
The Duke crew.
The Duke crew, basically. So, yeah, I think they'll be good, but I think that they did lose a lot of their shooting. If they expect Ben Simmons to carry that load,
all right,
good luck.
So you got Boston and the Lakers in the NBA Finals. Who wins it?
Well, no, the Lakers are
all right,
and that would be perfect for the NBA because the NBA would love that.
They would love that. Lakers, Boston, back again. I mean, they've been waiting for that. Magic Johnson's not gonna be happy because he's not working for them anymore. This is what he wanted, though. This is what he was trying to get to.
See, that's what, and I don't want to get into that all the way, but I mean, Magic. I mean, come on, you all you had to do was just tough it out, express yourself, but tell him what you wanted to do. You didn't have to quit, leave.
Yeah,
they
would have folded.
I mean, he's Magic Johnson.
They're taking his plan and just putting it into action anyway.
Yeah, and he'll still be around the team. He'll still go to every game. He's still Magic Johnson. He's still LA's, everything.
Well, on that note, we're gonna wrap up episode 1, season 3, Hella Flagrant, the podcast, man. We do want y'all to know the foul shirts, as y'all see, available right now, hellaflagrant.com, as well as we decided that we're just going to keep dropping new foul designs regularly.
Right.
And so y'all will see them on here. Y'all will see them online on Instagram. So make sure y'all check back, get all the new foul shirts for your favorite team or just to wear and kick it and be foul and be flagrant. You know what I mean?
There you go.
So check back for that. Make sure you continue to check up with us. Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on SoundCloud, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Google Music. I don't know. Everywhere that podcasts and things are shown, we're there. So go find us. We're not hard to find. Flagrant Foul. We're everywhere. Hashtag Hella Flagrant. We're everywhere. Sean.B.Flagrant. Hella Flagrant DM. We everywhere.
Yeah,
we in Vegas now. So
we in Vegas now. Exactly. But but on the real, you guys go get these stuff. Go get all the clothes, everything. Check back regularly. Like I said, we do all this for y'all. Not just the shirts, but the podcast, as well as write stories. You can go on to our website, www.theflagrantfoul.com, where we have all these videos, as well as the stories that different things come up, and we might not have time to just record right then. We do try to write as much stories as we can when we have the time. So please go on there and check out everything that we have to offer. Like I said, you can listen to us, subscribe on every single thing that you hear that we do. Follow us on all of our accounts, all of our Instagram, Facebook, everything. Make sure that you do all this and get some of this gear because we have all these colors. Anything special you need.
We got women's sizes too. We got special women cut sizes and all that too. So ladies, if you feeling the podcast and you want to be foul too, we got you too. So
everything you need, we have for you. These shirts, colors can be interchanged. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you want. Right now, we are in our Vegas hotel room, Caesar's Palace. We want to shout them out, even though they didn't really do anything. But the fact of the matter is, you see this lovely backdrop that we have right here. This is all the beautiful room at Caesar's Palace that we could come in here and record this for y'all. So right now, we're going to have to say peace out to y'all. We're about to go get our ass in this pool. Enjoy Vegas, man. Peace out. We'll be back.